Hello, children. Good morning. How are you? Certainly, you will be fine. Children, once again, I am live with you all in online class of Bishop Academy for the next chapter from poem from the Flamingo book. The second poem is an elementary school classroom in a slum of the greatest poem, Stephen Spender. First of all, we should discuss about the poet Stephen Spender. About Stephen Spender, he was born in 1909. As an English poet and essayist, he was known as the pioneers of poetic movement in the era of his time. You know about Stephen Spender. He was not only the greatest poet of English literature, but an essayist. Spender took a keen interest in the social and political problems of his time. As a social reformer and pacifist of his time, he questions the values of education and the morals and the ethics of individuals. So children, this way he was not a poet, he was a great social reformer. Basically, he raises his voice against injustice among society based on education, based on customs, traditions. The trials and tribulation of the post-World War Europe finds expression in Spender's verse and prose book. By Spender include poem of dedications. I'm telling you about some creation of Stephen Spender. So, along with the poem of dedications, the age of being, the creative movement, etc. These are his creative, reputed, immortal creative. As per your concern, if you talk about the poem, an elementary school classroom in a slum, Spender beautifully brings out the themes of social injustice and class inequalities. Social injustice and inequalities, where the societies are divided into lower path, upper path, into rich and poor. So he expresses a grief, worries about the poor status of poor children in an elementary school classroom in a slum. So, begins the introduction of the poem. In this poem, Spender depicts the injustice which prevails in society. He talks of social injustice and class inequalities, as I had told you already, denial of opportunity to slum dwellers, and also expresses his thoughts on the widening gap between the rich and the poor. His somewhere or the other seems to be hitting hard at the capitalist economy, which helps the rich to get richer and the poor poorer, as there are sufficient gap, as there are a large gap between poor and rich. The civil rights movements in America had gained pace, and Spender's poem supports it when he exposes the conditions of the haves and the have-nots. The poem lucidly brings forth the miserable conditions of the children of the slum and the inadequate educational facilities provided to them. So here, this is the introductions of the poem. And now, first of all, dear children, you have to see your poem. This poem, has been divided into stanzas. There are 4 stanzas, and I'm reading with you the stanzas so that you may be familiar with the poem's line. So begins the reading of the stanzas. First of all, I will read 2 stanzas and I will explain one by one to them for your clear understanding, right? So, dear children, far, far from gusty waves, the children's faces like ruthless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper-seeming boy with red eyes, the stunted unlucky's hair of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnawed disease, his lesson from his desk at back of the dream class, one unnoted sweet and a young, his eyes leaving a dream of a squirrel's game in the tea room other than this. And now the second stanza, on sour cream walls donation, Shakespeare's head cloudless at dawn, civilized, dome riding all cities, bald flowery, toryless valley, open-handed map, awarding the world its world, and yet from these children, these windows not this world, their world where all their futures painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers carved and stars of worlds. Now, about its explanation. Dear children, here in the first stanza, Spender describes the miserable conditions of the children in a school in the slum area. The children's faces are unlike the usual children of schools. Instead of being exuberant and energetic, they are like rootless weeds, withered and worn out. They are unclean and untidy, as they are malnourished, as they are weak, as they are incapable, sick and hungry. Just as uprooted weeds are not wanted in a garden, so are these children for the slum unwanted in a society. Means they are ignored, they are avoided like uprooted grasses, uprooted plants. They have a pale face due to weakness. Their hair is uncombered. The hair is, not combed. The hair is faded and dull. The tall, slim girl has her head bowed down, though she is exhausted physically because of malnutrition, because of her weakness, because of her poverty, and emotionally because of poverty. As I had told you, the other students of the class are also not in a better situation. Just like the girls who is burdened with the atrocities of life, there is a boy who is as thin as paper. As thin, the boy looked as thin as paper. So thinnest the boy was. You can compare how miserable situations are there for the poor children who were there as students in a slum school. The children here, this boy, he has eyes, but these eyes are compared like that of a rat. Small eyes, colorless eyes, weak eyes, malnutritious eyes, searching for food and betterment. Another child in the class who is a victim of genetic disorder has gnarled bones and stunted growth. He has inherited this debilitating disease from his father and recites his lesson from his desk in a mellow and weak voice. In one corner of his poorly lit and ill-equipped class, is a sweet, unnoticed young child lost in the world of his dream. So there are a lot of students, and all of them were fully malnutrited. They were fully, weak. They are fully unhealthy, and all of them are expecting for a better life, for a healthiest life. So the dull and monotonous classroom does not interest him, and hence his mind deviates towards the squirrel in her tree room. He too dreams of fun and frolic in an open space. Children are known for their energy, for their pleasant mood. So these children, one of the child expects to maintain fun, to make fun like a squirrel. And now here in the second stanza, the poet describes about the classroom. The classroom is quietly dirty. On the walls are displayed the name of the people who given donation. The bust of Shakespeare is displayed in the clear background of the sky. Wall have pictured a beautifully Chilores's valleys as well as the world map. The children's eyes can only view a narrow road enclosed with dull sky. It is quite dreary and a depressing place for children. So there were so many pictures on the wall of the classrooms, but were useless for the children because they are having no values. They are having no attentive for the children because the children were unable to get a proper basic need. So this way, I had explained these two stanzas before you. Hopefully, you had got. Now, there are also some poetic devices, some figure of speech here. You have not to forget to find out because these are very important for the examinations. Dear children, here just find out which type of poetic devices is hidden, like the paper swimming boy with rat's eyes in this line. But figure of speech, it rat's eyes is a metaphor, so you have to get metaphor. Again here, far from gusty waves, the children's face like rootless weed. Here simile, like rootless, like shows the similes because there is a comparison. Again here, up twisted bones reciting father's gnarled diseases. Here metaphor is hidden. There is poetic device metaphor. These poetic devices increases the beauties of the poem. So you have not to forget, you have to remind, you have to remember, you have to be serious about poetic devices. And here in the second stanza, dear children, where all the futures painted with fog. This line is given in the second stanza, and here poetic device metaphor is hidden. Again, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. Metaphor also is available here in this line in second stanza. So the children, today's these two stanzas I had told you, and next I will explain after that third stanza and fourth stanza. Till then, you have to revise this poem and prepare the exercise. I will explain all the answer of these exercises, and I will remove your doubt through the WhatsApp. And till then, you have not to forget to subscribe this channel. You have to press the bell also, so that you may get your notification directly, and put your comment, your level of understanding. Okay, dear?